private rides. Shout out to the rideshare professor. I'm not gonna give him credit for only being the person to help me grow my numbers, but I gotta give it to the rideshare professor. I think I had only maybe 300 subscribers on the Nice Guy Driver channel, and he endorsed me not once but twice since I've been doing my channel, and I really appreciate that. Even though I looked in those videos, they don't have my link anymore going to my YouTube channel, but you know, that's all right. And I'm still waiting for a discount code for his course. Rideshare professor, get at me, man. But rideshare, I really thought about this, guys. I woke up this morning and I was like, why do I still do this? I really thought about it. I was like, if rideshare is so bad, why do you still do it? Think about that for a minute. And the only answer I can come up with this is some of us just like rideshare. We like to get out and believe it or not, I'm an introvert. And rideshare kind of changed my thoughts on people. I was in retail. I'll tell you a quick story. I was at Bed Bath & Beyond, my last retail job. I was miserable. I hated people. Retail will do this to you. I hated people. But somehow, when I became a rideshare driver, I want to say late 2017, early 2018, I believe, around there, somehow I started having conversations with people. And the closest thing I could think of is I became like a therapist, and it's really started coaching people. And you probably thinking, well, what right do you have to coach anybody on anything? It's age. Sometimes just getting older, you've been having more life experiences, you just done more, because these usually be younger people than me. I'm not that old, but I'm in my early 50s, and I have life experience, which some people that get in the car don't have over me. Some do, but some don't. So I feel myself starting to coach people, and you know what I learned is I'm starting to like people. Maybe it's because I'm not forward facing, like looking at the person, they're usually behind me. But I started liking people. And then I also realized I started liking YouTube and doing video. Even though I never looked at myself as attractive enough, it's almost like a therapy for me. In a way of, I'm starting to enjoy talking to the camera in the same way that I started enjoying talking to my passengers. So it didn't feel like work in the beginning. And then you got to remember, we were getting paid a little bit better. They were scamming us back then. They were. We were getting scammed even in 2018 for what we were doing as far as drive time and everything else. But the money was better. So as time goes on, every year, they start chipping away. We're not even realizing it because you're enjoying your job. Like if you're a person in rideshare right now and you really enjoy driving and you enjoy talking to the people and you like the flexibility, guys, there's lawyers that quit their law firm because they enjoyed the freedom, the time freedom. So that's where Uber became the disruptor, what do you call it? You know, where they changed things. I can't say that word, I tried. And they changed things to the point where gig economy was starting to become a thing. You know, it was starting to become a thing where you can actually do enough side hustles together to replace your full-time job. There's single moms that drive, retired vets, People that used to be in corporate America that felt that they weren't spending enough time with their family, and the money was better, keep in mind. That's why we enjoy driving. That's why we can't go back to a regular job. There's a single mom right now that's a driver, risking her life even, because now it's getting dangerous, because she needs the flexibility, because when a school calls and there's an emergency, she needs to bounce. She doesn't need to go find her manager and say, look, I got an emergency, and explain like a little kid that I have to leave. People like the flexibility. You know, that's why we do it. And even though the money's bad, there's people that get aged out of their corporate jobs. And somebody said in the comments, well, it's your fault. You didn't get in a career at your age, or this, and this. And I was like, you're right. I can't argue with that. That's why I left the comment up. But I'm also not too old that I can't do other things. That's where people not seeing the big picture. They're not seeing the YouTube channel is the start of something bigger. They're not seeing the links in the, in the drop-down box offering affiliate products and services. They're not thinking that I do anything outside of rideshare. So they're looking at me as a loser. When actually rideshare drivers are some of the smartest people in the country. I'm not talking about the new immigrants just coming over. I'm talking about the immigrants that have been here for generations. This country is built on immigrants. And I'm not agreeing that we should be flushing them all in now, when times are rough. But you have to let some in, because this country was built on immigrants. And the ones that are coming in, I agree, some of them commit crimes. And I don't want to get political, but that's just reality, and this country was built on immigrants that have been here generations, worked hard, never did anything wrong, never committed any crimes, and now we're the ones getting killed. The drivers are now getting killed. I know you see cases where an occasional driver will do the worst thing possible, rape, kill, but a lot of those cases, go back and look, some of them are Uber drivers. Some of them are not even Lyft drivers. They're people posing as rideshare drivers. And the stupidity of drunk young individuals not paying attention, they get in the car, and now rideshare has a bad rap because that individual posed as an Uber driver. That's a lot of the cases I'm seeing where it's the driver's fault. They weren't even Uber drivers. A case of a drunk person, or intoxicated person, due to their no fault of their own, because sometimes people get drugged, get in the wrong car. This is why people shouldn't order rides for other people. They get in the wrong car, and they get taken advantage of, mutilated, sometimes murdered, and it gives a bad rap to drivers. But I don't even think there's enough stories. Even though I'm seeing them, I don't think there's ever going to be enough where passengers do wrong to drivers. And they think driver safety is least important. So now this is dangerous. On top of not paying well, I'm talking any category on Uber, you're getting scammed. Comfort, Black, XL, you're getting scammed now. And I see that the higher platforms, even though I'm not on the higher platform, I'm seeing that drivers are talking about they're getting offered Uber X rides when they're in Comfort and Black, the same amounts. And what does that mean for rideshare going forward? That means we gotta pivot. If you enjoy being a driver, you gotta pivot, and that's most likely gonna mean you gotta go private at some point. This is why I was joking about the rideshare professor sending me to his course. I'll take his course, but I'm also thinking about creating my own for Connecticut. because, and the other states got it right. I don't know what's going on with Connecticut, and I don't want to bash Connecticut, and I'm not blaming, either side, Democrat or Republican. I'm blaming the state as a whole. There's no alternatives in my state. And it started making my wheels start turning, and I'm starting to think, should I be the one to, maybe because I'm not smart enough to build the technology, but maybe I'm the guy that needs to go find the right team. Because I'm hearing about these other states that they got their little rideshare platform, Rides. What's the one that rideshare professor promoting, Fair Rides or whatever? And why can't Connecticut do something similar? Because we love rideshare. We just want fair pay. It's not even like we're crying about extra at this point. We want fair. And the only way we're getting paid fair is to do private rides under the table, which is technically illegal. So I can't even promote that on the channel because it's technically illegal. It is. If you're riding people around, you're taking cash, technically illegal. I know some of us do it to survive. But I hear they do it majorly in New York. They take cash, because not everybody can even afford to make the money to go get the license. I will say this, though. Commercial insurance has come down a little, even though things are crazy right now. But insurance companies, if you're listening, if you're an insurance company in Connecticut, you need to come up with some type of hybrid model. And I think the Rideshare Professor mentioned one. The Rideshare Guide channel, I think they mentioned a couple. There's companies in other states that offer like this hybrid commercial insurance that covers you all the time. We don't have it in Connecticut. We have rideshare insurance, but we need something outside of just rideshare insurance that's really high. Progressive offers it. They offer rideshare insurance. If you combine that with your regular insurance, you're paying an arm and a leg. You're paying the same rate that you could just pay to go get commercial, if that makes sense. So we need to have something less expensive, a hybrid model like some of these ones that are in these other states that offer commercial insurance all the time, because we don't just do rideshare. A lot of us want to start not just private rides, but our private transportation company, meaning taxi service off the platforms where we want to take cash, like taxi, limousine. We might want to do deliveries. Some of us do food delivery now, but we might want to upscale and do like a courier business. This is why we need a hybrid insurance, because a lot of times rideshare drivers, they drive all day, but they don't touch that car a lot for personal use. So this is why a hybrid model needs to come in play. There's rideshare drivers that only drive Monday through Friday, and then their car sits for 2 days. There's drivers that just drive Saturday and Sunday. Why should they pay commercial insurance the whole month just to be legally covered for Saturday and Sunday commercially? So if you're listening to this and you just happen to be insurance, you need to think about helping Connecticut put something together. But my wheels start turning. I'm thinking maybe I gotta be the one to put something together for my own state, because nobody's coming up with any ideas, nothing. Nobody. And you can blame politicians all you want, but sometimes you got to take a stand for yourself. Do something. You do something for yourself and your state. And that's what I really am at right now, and thank God I don't just rely on just rideshare. And this is another thing people don't get when they're talking junk about me in the comments. I don't just do rideshare. You can't now. You can't now. The money's not there. The money's not what it used to be. You can't just do rideshare. Hence the reason why I saw people hating on the rideshare professor, because he's not just a driver. You know, he's an entrepreneur. He's a marketer. So am I. You gotta be. The money's not enough, but you can see there's still a passion in it for me. When I took that year off during the pandemic, and a lot was still going on with rideshare, online and stuff, I still considered myself a driver. Even in the videos, I was no longer driving, but I still considered myself a driver. That's the dedication we have. That's why I like this whole organization of gig workers. And it's not just rideshare drivers, it's fast food drivers, it's taxi drivers, it's limousine drivers. We're all a community. We need to stick together. Rideshare drivers shouldn't be fighting taxi drivers. We're the same community as far as I'm concerned. You know, we're just doing it in a different way. And you should want to go legal. I know of us doing some of the under the table rides, we should want to be legal because it's going to keep us safe. We should get the dash cams. Even myself, I'm guilty of it. I drive part-time, but that's no excuse why I don't have a dash cam. I should have a dash cam. I got near misses and stuff happen. I had an elderly guy. I did a video about it already. Threatened to hit me in the back of the head with a cane. But I can tell his mind is not there like it should be. So I let it go. But this is the dangers we face as rideshare drivers. And on top of it all, we're not getting paid good for it. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm guilty of taking under the table rides to survive. But now I'm really seriously looking into going private for more of a safety thing, because Uber is only going to get worse. Uber and Lyft is only going to get worse. It's not going up. The driver pay is not going up. But at the same time, I no longer blame, well, I do blame them, but I understand companies, corporations. So I understand that this was in the business plan the whole time. I watched the guy video, I can't remember his name, but he broke down the whole business model. It was built in that eventually they had released one of the Uber private documents on one of the news stations, and they showed that this was in the business plan, that they were going to start slowly trickling money from the drivers, you know, to the company to boost the numbers, to keep the investors happy. Uber has to show consistent growth while driver pay consistently going down year after year after year after year. It's not going to get better. Not for drivers. And then we know what the future looks like. We don't have to wait for AI to tell us. They're going to replace us with robot piloted AI technology cars. Far in the future, but it's still in our future. You know, most of us won't be around to see it where the average person gets in a car where you feel 100% safe. I'll be long dead when that day comes, I'm sure. Where I'm talking like that young to elderly will just get in the car and feel 100% safe, you know, with an automated car to get them where they need to go safely. I think it's way beyond 30 to 40 years, you know. But I'm hearing places like, you know, particularly the hotter climates, the robo cars, taxis, they're going to be out here. They're out here now. They're out here now, but it's going to get more mainstream. And they're still killing people. Occasional person gets ran over, hit, but that's the cost of doing business. That's the way they look at it. You know, let's be real. Some people are going to get hurt in the process of this technology. It is what it is. Eventually, it'll get to the point where it's 100% safe. But like I said, that's so far in the future that we need to be concerned about driver pay now. We need the money now. And the only way to do that is, in my opinion, to go 100% private, limousine style private, and then diversify. Meaning, if you have to do deliveries, I might have to do deliveries, guys. I've been fighting doing deliveries for the past 6 years because I don't want to do deliveries. I think it's more work for even less pay. My personal opinion. Argue with me in the comments. I think delivery is a lot more work for even less pay on the apps. Now, if you become a courier, you're doing your own deliveries directly for these companies, now you're going to get paid real money. And you can do private deliveries. You know, as long as it's not nothing criminal. Like, there's nothing wrong saying you can't hook up with a flower shop. You deliver their plants for them on a full-time basis. You have a set schedule every day, but they're paying your personal company rather than paying you as an employee. You know, and then you can eventually grow that and hire people. There's nothing stopping us, but these apps are, the whole business model is to siphon money from the drivers. It's in the business plan. And they said that drivers will be upset going in the future and strike and everything else. They already knew this was coming. They knew they were going to get sued a lot in the future. But you got to remember, every time Uber and Lyft gets sued, it's a fraction of the money they stole. And I use the word stole. It's a fraction of the amount they stole. They'd be glad to pay that whatever million because they stole more than that. It's in the business plan. This is a capitalist society. You know? So driver pay is going to continue to go down. I'm not saying we need to quit. We don't need to quit and go get a regular job like a lot of you be barking in the comments because you never drove, so you don't know the passion of having your flexibility and your time to yourself. This is better than a job. The pay sucks, but it's better than a job. I like to compare it to like fast food worker. I probably, after all expenses, I probably am equal to like a fast food worker, but here's the difference. That fast food worker has to clock in times. He hates his job, and hates to pay. Can't take a vacation when he wants. Has to work crazy hours, and he's not happy. Where we might not be happy all the time, but we have our time and freedom. And at the end of the day, we still make the same pay. So I'd rather do this than flipping burgers at Burger King. Me personally. I can go get a job, but why would I? If that makes sense. The only way I would go get a job is if I'm in poverty. But you guys that are watching these channels, you're not seeing the big picture. We're not just Uber drivers, Uber and Lyft drivers. We're doing other things. You know? So eventually, rideshare might be phased out altogether for most of us. I just happen to like transportation. But some of us are going on to, I think one of the girls I used to watch, young girl, I can't remember the name of her channel. She walked away from not only rideshare, but YouTube. She's still making money outside of that, just that. She don't have a regular job, I guarantee you. She probably has a whole nother channel doing whole nother great things. It's just she don't have a channel on just rideshare. This channel is only one of 6 YouTube channels I have, promoting affiliate marketing products, my own courses and products and services, and this is going to be part of a media empire of intellectual property that I will own in the future. Hence the reason, if you look good on my videos, you'll see my little logo. So stop thinking we're just Uber drivers. Some of us are. Some of us are just Uber drivers with a camera. But some of us are more than that. And when people were hating on the rideshare professor because he wasn't just a driver, I was like, wow, why would you want to be just a driver? It doesn't pay enough. This way, I still do what I enjoy doing, which is driving. Like I'm out here today, before Labor Day, Saturday before Labor Day, there's not a lot of rides out here today. But I'm out here just because I enjoy what I do. You know? And I still make money outside of rideshare to pay my bills because this money is not enough, if that makes sense. I feel like I got to explain that over and over and over because the comments that I don't like is that just go get a regular job stuff. And it's your fault you don't have a career. And like, yeah, okay, it's my fault that I don't have a regular career, but does that make me a bad person? That I want to be independent and I want to be an entrepreneur? No. I am an entrepreneur, whether you believe it or not. I'm not going to lose no sleep for the one, for the 5 people out of thousands that disagree with me. I'm not going to lose no sleep. And if you're respectful enough, I won't even delete your comment. I'm just giving you guys another way. There is another way. There's a life outside of rideshare and still do the things you enjoy. If you enjoy rideshare, don't stop doing it. But you're going to have to either go private or figure something else out. Because the money's never going to be enough. It's never going to be enough. So it's almost like striking might, I don't want to say it's useless because it's helped regulate some states, but I just be thinking to myself, it's got to be direct to the politicians or it's almost useless. I think we got to think about our own individual futures and just figure some of stuff out, do other things. I did a whole story about how I'm doing the room rental thing on the side just to pay my rent. I rented out 2 rooms in my apartment literally to cover my rent because rideshare is not paying enough. And I started doing affiliate marketing during the pandemic. Was booming during the pandemic. I'm not going to lie to you guys. The money was coming in the online space during the pandemic, but it slowed down. So I had no choice but to come back to rideshare, at least part-time. I had no choice. I was talking big, like I didn't need to do rideshare and I was just doing it for video purposes. No, I needed it. I needed the part-time income. I was happy. I'm still happy with a minimum of like $120 a day. If I can get $120 a day and I'm not driving all day, say maybe 5-6 hours, I'm actually happy. But that has come increasingly harder and harder. And I find myself driving beyond that 5 to 6 hours some days to make that same money. And I'm realizing why. Because they're doing all these tricks and scams behind the scenes to lower our money. I looked at the app one day when the money was still good. I think the last time the money was still good was 2023, recently, just last year. And I think one day I made like $120 in like 4 hours. And I noticed slowly over the months, it became 5, and then 6, and then now it's 7. And I'm like, to make the same money. And I'm looking at the amount of rides I'm doing. Back then, I used to literally, me and my neighbor used to talk about this. 10 rides exactly a day on average would get you an average of $100. You have to do twice that amount to make that same $100. Just short rides, reasonably short rides, 15, 20 minutes at the most. 10 of those used to get you a minimum, and it'd be around, it fluctuates, be 100, at the lowest maybe like 90 something, at the highest like 130, and you should be able to knock it out in like 4 hours. Now you got to do 8, a lot of people, to make that same money. And the new guys don't know because they're new. They're not seeing the discrepancy in the money. I talked to a new driver. I was about to rent to him, and he does one of the Uber, I think one of the rental programs through Uber. And I was like, he started doing the math. I was sitting there doing the math with him. He's literally driving just to keep the car. That's it. And he does a few things outside of ride share with the car, like get home, obviously, at night, do a shopping, whatever. But he literally was driving just to pay the rental. He barely made maybe $20 more for himself when he started doing the math. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. I encourage you to take any course that's going to show you how to go private eventually. But you got to do what you got to do to make this money now. Some of us might not even be able to afford some of these courses. I'm not saying the rideshare professor course is expensive. It's not. But there are people out here charging a couple $100 for a course. I would never charge that much, but there's people doing it just to show you how to, go private. We got to figure something else out, guys. It's not going to get better. Like I said, some of us just enjoy rideshare. We enjoy talking to our passengers. We enjoy the experience. I had a great conversation with a guy, and I never do long trips, but for some odd reason, I took a long trip to New Haven, and it was an older white guy, and he was so impressed that I knew so much about AI technology, because some people just think we're Uber drivers, that I got a $20 tip from this guy, and I didn't get it in the app, guys. I would have never seen that $20 tip if you put it in the app. I truly believe that. I believe every story out there about both apps stealing tips. I think Lyft's more subtle with it, but I think blatantly Uber will rob you blind. I think if that guy would have put that $20 into that app, I would have seen maybe $5, 10 at the most. And I used to get $10 tips all summer long last year. I haven't seen any this year, and I got a feeling I'm getting some. I've seen only $5 is the most I've seen, and I know that I'm a friendly guy, so I know that I'm getting higher tips. And unfortunately, some people, they're gonna pay you in the app. It's just more convenient. You can't tell everybody, give me cash tip. It's not gonna happen. And you can't say it nasty or you will get reported. You know what I mean? But I know for a fact that they're stealing tips. I don't need to show you a side-by-side comparison of my proof. I don't need to do that. We're not in court. I know my tips have gone down. More so on Uber. And they used to be higher on Lyft as well. They're not taking the whole tip because they don't want to make it look blatant. So they got to siphon a little bit off of it. It's illegal, yes, but prove it. Prove it. Prove them wrong. They own the app. And there's nothing we can do about it. But I see a future where we have a company like Hum, for example, with a monthly subscription. And let's keep it real. We're in a capitalist society. Their monthly plan might slowly get higher and higher. We already know the game. But that's business. That's fair. But I would take Hum's hands down over Uber and Lyft that we had in our state, because they let you control your business. You know what I mean? They let you charge what you need to charge to survive and still use their commercial insurance. I kind of like that. I'll pay the monthly. I would pay probably as high as $100 a month. Some of you might disagree. Feel free to let me know in the comments. But I would pay as much as $100 a month to an app if we can get 100% of the money coming in from the rides. That $100 a month won't feel like nothing. My cable, my internet is that much. I don't even have cable, just internet, and I'm paying $100 a month. I'm getting very little benefit out of it. You know what I'm saying? Other than have the ability to upload videos and watch YouTube. So maybe I need to get the word out there. Maybe I need to bring the right people together. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Something's got to be done for Connecticut. We need to come together and figure something out. And the politicians ain't going to do it for us. Let's be real. Democrats or Republicans, they're not going to do it for Connecticut. It's not going to happen. You can count on them if you want to. And this is the only thing I'm going to say about politics. I'm hearing a lot of people saying Harris ain't going to do this. The Biden administration never did this. I agree. But do you think Trump's really going to do better? Not for a rideshare community, people. It's not going to happen. We got to figure a way to help ourselves. That's all I'm going to say about it. Either side is not going to help us. We have to do it ourselves. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.